Chapter 5. The brightness of the Greek sunshine woke everyone up early. Alex squinted while trying to open his eyes. In the kitchen, Nana Grace was making toast and smothering it with the homemade strawberry jam from the welcome basket. She smiled at Alex and offered him some toast. Alex thanked his Nana, examined the jam carefully, and then tucked in, noting how tasty it was, but not making any comment. Instead, he gazed through the open window at the ocean, his thoughts competing for space in his head. Alex? Yes? Alex noticed Nana looking at him with one eyebrow raised. Oops, she was on to him. I know that look, Alex. You're up to something. What are you working on, my sweet mischief? I'm thinking about the puppy, Nana, Alex blurted out, almost relieved to get it off his chest. You know, the puppy we saw last night at the restaurant. She's so lovely, Nana, and Mr. Takis said that it was unlikely she would ever find a home. Those other dogs were bigger and older than her, and from what I saw last night, not very kind towards her. She's small and in danger. Alex was now more animated, his face almost touching Nana's for full effect as he delivered his last sentence. Someone needs to give her a home. I think it should be us. Oh, darling boy, you have such a sweet, compassionate heart. But our family doesn't have the money to take a dog to England. There are all sorts of things it needs. A vet to examine her, vaccinations, a permit to go to England, flights. All that costs a fortune. Besides, if you really want a dog, isn't it better to get one from a shelter in England? There are many beautiful dogs in the shelters, all needing a loving home. That's if you can get past your mum, of course. Alex's shoulders dropped and he put the rest of the toast back on the plate, pushing the plate away from him. Yes, getting it past Mum, he murmured and walked out of the kitchen. The rest of the day was spent on the beach. Mum chased everyone with the sun cream, while Dad was inflating various swimming armbands and rings. Nana read her book under the shade of an umbrella. Nicholas sunbathed while listening to music with his earphones on, and Isabel collected seashells and screamed for help every time sand blew in her face. Alex allowed Mum to cover him in sun cream without the usual objections and spent most of the time floating on his inflatable bed, arms gently paddling the warm sea water. He allowed his mind to wander, imagining life back in England with the puppy and all the fun they would have. Maybe he could even teach her skateboarding. He'd seen a dog on TV doing that. At the end of that busy day, they decided to return to Mr. Dagis's restaurant for a meal. Alex was excited at the thought of seeing the puppy again. He had the fastest shower ever and was ready before everyone else, a very unusual occurrence. Usually the whole family had to wait for him. Mum noticed but did not say anything. She also noticed how quiet and thoughtful Alex had been all day at the beach, even letting her put sun cream on him, which he usually hated. When they were all finally ready, Alex shot out of the apartment and into the lift, holding it open for everyone else. Well, what a gentleman you've suddenly turned into, little brother, scoffed Nicholas. What are you after? Nothing. I can be kind if I want to, replied Alex, resisting the urge to be rude to Nicholas for calling him little and starting an argument. He knew he could jeopardize their visit to the restaurant or end up getting him grounded at the apartment for the evening. Nicholas made a hand gesture, which meant he was watching him. But Alex looked away. He was trying hard to control himself when everything in him wanted to punch Nicholas. While walking to the restaurant, Alex did something he hadn't done before. He looked up at the sky and made a wish. He didn't know if it was a wish or a prayer, but with all the sincerity in his heart, he decided that he would find the puppy and that somehow he could make it his own. "Alex, are you all right?" His mum's voice startled him. "Yeah, sure I am, Mum. Why?" "Well, you're awfully quiet today. Has something happened?" "No, well, yes. Well, not exactly happened. I was just wondering." "Well, hello to my new favorite family of customers," Mr. Douglas interrupted. Alex's shoulders slumped. How was he going to approach this question with his parents? How was he going to convince them to adopt this puppy? Over dinner, Alex was restless. The puppy was nowhere to be seen. Where was it? What if something terrible happened? Just then, Mr. Douglas approached their table. "Are we ready for dessert? My wife makes the most delicious baklava on the island." "Bakla what?" Isabel asked cautiously. She was not one to ever refuse dessert, but this sounded very strange. "Oh, you do not know. It is the most famous dessert in Greece, no? Layers of crispy pastry with crushed pistachio nuts, cinnamon and honey." Mr. Douglas pretended to lick his fingers one by one, which made everyone giggle. Shyly, Alex finally asked the question. "Mr. Douglas, where is the puppy tonight?" Mum looked over and immediately knew why Alex had been quiet all day. He had been thinking about the puppy. How could she not have realized? Alex had been asking for a dog for years, and they had promised to consider it once they were settled in their new home. But then life got busy and they never discussed it. With Mum being so tidy and constantly worried about germs, she avoided the subject of a dog, even though deep down she knew it would be good for Alex to have a pet. When they met the puppy yesterday, it was obvious Alex was completely besotted with her. "Ah, the puppy," answered Mr. Douglas. His eyes looked down at his feet while his eyebrows came together, almost meeting in the middle. "She is not well. When I came to open the restaurant this morning, I found her injured on the step there. It looks like one of the bigger dogs has bitten her. There is a big wound. I cleaned and bandaged it, but I don't know if she can survive. She needs to be in a home with people who can take care of her. I can't do that. I'm at the restaurant too many hours with my wife and children." "Oh no!" Nana Grace looked worried. "Where is she?" "I placed her in a bigger box with a blanket on the other side of the restaurant where the other dogs don't go, but I can't guarantee her safety." Alex couldn't control himself any longer, blurted out, "We'll look after her, Mr. Douglas, won't we, Mum, Dad? We'll take her to our apartment and keep her safe until her leg heals." Before Mum or Dad could answer, Mr. Douglas jumped in. "That is fantastic news, my little friend. Absolutely wonderful. How can I thank you? I know. Some free baklava and ice cream from your friend Mr. Douglas." Mum glared at Alex while Dad sat there with his mouth open, unable to think what to say. Alex looked at his mum pleadingly. Tears formed, and he tried to hold them back. Mum's heart immediately softened. I guess it wouldn't be a huge problem to take care of her for a few days while she recovers. But if she misbehaves, yelps, or disturbs the neighboring apartments, or I find any toilet business on the floor, she's coming back here, Alex. Do you understand? We have to be responsible and honorable to the people renting us the apartment. Alex could hardly believe it. Yeah, Mum, I understand. Don't worry, you won't hear a peep out of her, I promise. When they all finished their meal, they followed Mr. Daggis to the large box at the other side of the restaurant, where the puppy was resting. She looked sorry for herself, not even budging when the strangers approached. Her head was buried in her tummy as she was curled into a ball with her foot bandaged up. She had managed to chew through the dressing and lick her wound, which made it worse, and the bandage was haphazardly hanging off. Alex lowered himself gently and placed his hand in front of her nose. She sniffed it nervously and then lifted her head, suddenly looking perkier. She recognized Alex from the night before when he offered her those juicy sausages. She licked his hand and he stroked her head. Looks like you made a friend there, little girl, Mr. Taggis commented. Why does he have to call everyone little all the time? Alex thought in frustration. Little girl, my little friend. Ugh. Alex lifted the puppy gently out of her box and wouldn't let anyone help him. Dad carried the box and the family slowly walked back to their apartment where they made the puppy comfortable for the night. Alex insisted on sleeping with her to ensure she didn't cry at night or go to the toilet on the floor. Mum knew this was very important to Alex, so she allowed him to sleep on the sofa next to the box with the puppy in it. Gradually, one by one, everyone drifted off to sleep, but Mum was worried. Staring at the ceiling, she whispered, What do I do now? He's going to get attached to this dog. How are we going to be able to hand her back and go back to England? Why do things have to get so complicated? She got out of bed and went to check on Alex. She found him fast asleep on the sofa with the puppy curled up next to him, her head resting on his arm. Mum stood there for a few minutes with a smile on her face. Ah, well, I know it will work out somehow. With that, she went to bed, wondering what she would find when she got up the next morning. Would the puppy even be okay?